Hello, everyone, and welcome to PROCEPTION Live. My name is Robert Wolff, and your host today and every month on the last Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. UTC. I'm watching John in the green room smiling. Robert Host. Maybe I should just change my name to that. So PROCEPTION Live. We are a group of HacksterPROs here to showcase all of the cool and exciting things happening in and around this technology space, and most importantly, the cool things that are happening on Hackster.io. This is brought to you by Hackster and Avnet, however, hosted by your friendly open developer ecosystem, DevEco, and we love being here. We love Hackster. I have a new shirt here, which was sent to me kindly by the folks over at Hackster, and I'm stoked to now start representing it officially with our HacksterPRO logo now as well in the overlay mode. So we're going to bring on our guest in just a moment. I want to talk a little bit about him. I want to go over what happened last month. And then, of course, if you aren't aware of what happened this month, we are also going to talk about open source, which was just a blast. So I'm going to wait to bring Jon Durant, who is our guest. Jon Durant, also known as Dr. Jon EA. He is a YouTuber, creator, maker, and consultant. And I actually look forward to hearing a little bit more about all of the stuff that he's done in his career. In fact, we haven't had a chance to really go back, even though we are friends. We both hang out in various developer communities. I do look forward to getting to know him on a new level, as well as seeing all the cool things that he's been building over the years. I know there's one thing in particular that he's going to show us. He has his camera set up now. It is RexPi, I think it's called. Let's see if he nods at me. RexPi? Nope. Something like that. But it's going to be really cool. We're going to see that. It is like an R2-D2-esque robot, and several other cool projects that he's built over the years that he has now posted on Hackster. So we're going to go look at those as well. Now, to talk a little bit about what happened last month, and I'll share that link in just a moment. We met with Sachin Soni, also known as Techie SMS. What a cool guy. What great energy. It was such a fun episode. I personally just had a great time. There are shorts slowly rolling out onto the DevEco YouTube channel, so make sure you check those out, and you'll get a little sneak peek as to the things we discussed, as well as a link to the PROCEPTION episode from last month from each one of those shorts. So I'll share some of those once we get Jon in here. I think that covers it all. We're going to be going into some cool stuff today. Stick around. It's about an hour long. You don't have to stay the whole time, though we would love it if you did. And if you do enjoy these types of streams, make sure you do hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the DevEco YouTube channel, as well as heading on over to Hackster.io and checking them out. So I think I covered all that. I stopped using teleprompters. Jon, I'm bringing you on. How you doing, Jon?
I'm doing good, Mr. Host.
Mr. Robert Host. Yeah. Thank you. That's good to hear, Jon. Yeah, I stopped using teleprompters for these intros. I felt like this is just more natural. It comes a little better.
I agree. I'm really rubbish at using teleprompters. I do use them for my bumpers on my YouTube, but I do get feedback telling me that I sound really different when I'm doing those bumpers from the rest of the video. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So like the teleprompters are good for these shorts, I think, especially if you want to go fast or something, but like for these, anyways, you get it. Jon, welcome to PROCEPTION Live. We have Bruno in the audience. It looks like we also have Heavy Falcon. Hello, greetings and permutations. Heavy Falcon joining us from the Hackpack community. Of course, Bruno joining us from DevEco. Great to have you all here. Jon, we want to know, before we dive into all the cool things that you're doing, a little bit of an origin story, if you may. Maybe take a few minutes. Tell us about what you did to get to this point.
Well, I did lots of things, really. So computing has been largely the only thing I've ever been able to do and get to work. So I fell into computing quite early, and I spent most of my career in corporate IT, helping as an architect. Now, architects don't always get the greatest reputation around developers, but my job has always been trying to help organizations see IT as an investment and not a cost. And I've been in lots of organizations where IT is sort of a cost. And the idea by the CFO is to get that cost down as low as possible. And my answer has always been, no, let's not. Let's actually make sure that the return is maximized and that we get the money back and that it's part of the investment for the business to change the business. And so I spent most of my career really being an architect up until about 4 years ago when I got to 50. Yes,
You're 50 years old?
I'm 54 today.
Oh, yes, I forgot. I did wish you happy birthday on the Discord server, but happy birthday. Oh my gosh, you're joining us on Proception for your birthday. That's great. Happy birthday, John.
Thank you very much. But yes, today I'm 54. But yes, so I got to 50 and decided that actually I sort of had enough of corporate IT, at least for as a permanent employee. And so I decided I'd try something different. And I went down a route of saying, well, actually, I've got all of this knowledge and all of this experience from, 25 odd years doing corporate IT. What can I share with the community? How can I get this information out? So I started writing courses on Udemy. And that started on architecture. So that was on IT strategy, on data strategy, on highfalutin stuff like that. And then I sort of drifted into starting to share my hobby as well of building stuff and embedded systems and distributed systems and stuff. And so we then started that journey. And it was that then led me into the world of YouTube, because to succeed on Udemy, you have to advertise what you're doing. And so I started making some videos, some very bad videos for YouTube. And then I discovered that actually making projects for YouTube was much more fun. So I've sort of almost changed direction now, and Udemy and making stuff that I actually enjoy is what I spend most of my time doing, and a little bit out pushing the courses along on Udemy. And occasionally I get called in as consultants to various things. So from doing IT strategy at corporate friends' businesses to sometimes helping organizations with their coding challenges and for their embedded systems around the generally RP 2040 and RP 2350 I work with. Because it's quite difficult getting some of that stuff up and running quickly. And as a consultant, I like to get in and get out and not get stuck there. And the getting out bit is extremely important to me, because that's how I get back to that YouTube channel. And so they quite like that, because they quite like me to deliver something, to enable them to deliver it themselves, and then to stop charging them money.
John, I like that you mentioned this, because I feel like, me having gone into consulting, it has become apparent that there is a bit of a misconception, and it usually ends up surfacing itself in earlier companies and people who may not experienced consultants or contractors, is that, like you said, planned obsolescence, right? Like we're going in there to move a mountain, set up processes, and get out. That's why you pay the big bucks. Right. And then we'll set up the processes so you can now have this standard and hire, your full times or actually be able to manage it yourself. Right. With low touch. So anyways, that's really cool. I love your backstory. I love the fact that you kind of like started to gravitate towards the thing that you enjoyed the most, and that you actually continued to pursue that. And that's your YouTube down there. And I've been following you now for some time. You have a channel in the devEco. You put out some amazing videos. I want to say, you can tell that you're, a teacher at heart, that you're a teacher, you're an educator. You want people to learn things, and you get that from your videos.
I absolutely. I want people to be able to do what I can do. I want people to realize it's fun as well. And like all fun pieces, there are hard times and there are the odd vertical climb. But there is a lot of fun too. So the more I can help people understand that, and I do some other things like, coach people from diversity groups trying to get into the world of development and programming, to try and convince them that actually this is fun too, and that actually it's a lot easier than some people might suggest. You don't have to know the entire textbook. You don't have to know everything about Python and every library. No one does. So these are myths. It is a lot easier than people think, and how can I help them enjoy it?
The myth of the full. Well, let me ask you a question here. We're going to tangent off a second here. What are your thoughts on full stack developers? On the full stack developer. Someone comes up to you and says, "I'm a full stack developer." What do you say?
I'm not sure I've ever met a true full stack developer, i.e. someone that actually knew all of the stacks and was an expert on all of them, because that seems a very hard thing to know. I love the fact that someone can actually do all of those things.
Yes.
But that it is a very broad set of skills to do. And they've got to be more experts on some bits of it than others, and they may have preferences on some bits than the others. We all do. And I guess that's where they are. One of the problems I think one of the challenges I think is IT is, and if you describe it to your mum and stuff, is you work in development or an IT space, therefore you must know everything about IT. That hasn't been possible for at least the last 30 years, and it certainly isn't now possible. You can only know bits, and you can only know bits that you're successful at in your application, your services, and what you deliver. And so when someone says they're a full stack, they are, but in the bits that they are successful at delivering, which I'm sure are really cool, and which, I'd love to see.
I love your breakdown of that, John. That's really, really well broken down. I mean, I'm a little more terse, or when I say, like, I don't believe in the full stack developer. I think it's a myth, right? And it's not like I don't believe, like, what you said, which is why I say you articulated it very well. A full stack developer for me is like trying to say that you can physically multitask, but like extremely multitask, and not only that, keep up with every technology at the same time. And so, like, technologies move fast. You have an entire stack, hardware, software to deal with, and to be able to keep up with all those at the same time, which you also said, while simultaneously knowing it all. For me, when someone, especially like if I'm subcontracting or looking to give a job, I say, okay, well, you're a full stack developer, but what are you the most passionate about? What do you like doing the most? Because that's where you're going to really shine, And so, yeah, great, full stack, but let's hone in on those one or two things that you really enjoy. And I think that's what I like to think about in terms of full stack.
But then, if full stacks developers don't exist, then content creators like me who actually build things can't exist at all.
Why?
Because not only do I need to be a full stack developer and be able to develop all of these things, cloud services, but I also need to be a marketeer, a salesman, a YouTuber, a video editor, a sound mixer. How could I possibly be all of those things?
One at a time,
or only just very, very poor imitations of those things.
They say, like, the jack of all trades, master of none, right?
Absolutely, and I feel that there are days when I feel that, particularly in the space of marketing.
Yeah, you got to get to the point where you can hire an entire team, build out an entire office filled with all sorts of different areas that have all of your different videos ready to record, like these folks over here. Their office was freaking amazing. I loved it. And that 70 million subscribers, John. Just aim for 70 million subscribers. You'll get there. Close.
I'm not sure I'm going to live that long, Robert. I wish, but I'm not sure that that's really quite a dream. If we get to 10,000, that would be amazing.
54 years old, and you look like you're in your late 30s, John. Come on, maybe if anything, like I would almost say mid 30s. You don't look older than me.
I really don't. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should run a poll on the channel at the moment of how old do you think I am? We'll see how many people will put me beyond 60.
Yeah, they have the bias now, though. That'll be tough. We'll see. Maybe we run a poll in DevEco since it's your birthday today. Okay, so let's get to one thing before we dive into your cool content. And I really want to showcase, I'm looking at your Hackster page right here, right now. We've talked about your Halloween skull, some of the other stuff you're doing. I want to see the Rex P1 or Rex Pi, I was calling it. But I want to give a little open source showcase because it was really, really fun. It was very last minute in terms of the DevEco being present there. My first time actually like really taking on a full event like this. So yeah, it was tough. Now, don't get me wrong. We're going to be there next year. We'll be there next year. I'll be there next year. We'll be showcasing a bunch of cool things. And I really want devEco to show up. Ideally, I'd love to see Hackster show up, have a presence there as well. So you see, I have your Hackster page up here. We'll definitely go through this in just a minute. And for those of you who are looking, you can actually find Jon's Hackster page right here, Dr. Jon EA. But I want to show some pictures because I got them right here. All right. So if you have any questions, Jon, let me know. This right here, the reason I want to do this in this show real quick is because I've already gotten like, I don't even know how many dozens of people saying, how was open source? How was open source? So this is my way of saying, hey, just go to minute 1725 on the PROCEPTION episode this month. So first off, let's talk about Open Sauce the event. Open Sauce the event is a kind of mix between VidCon and Maker Faire. In fact, this year they finally made it to the size and kind of like rep that they took over the traditional Maker Faire Convention Center. They were at the San Mateo or San Jose Convention Center. It felt like jumping into the past, but with a brand new experience, because I had gone to the Maker Fairs there before, San Francisco Maker Fairs. So they were actually at that venue. So, oh, look, they already have the dates. Wow, they're really getting good at this. They're on top of it. So July 17th through 19th next year, start saving up your money, start doing your stuff, whatever you got to do to get there. This year it was on the 19th and 20th. Technically the 18th, 19th, and 20th. The 18th was their industry day. And it was amazing. So let's here you go. One of the big things that this kind of like, I want to say does differently is that you're kind of like walking around and all of your favorite content creators, YouTubers, influencers, they're like right there, fellow human beings, just being themselves, right? Don't get me wrong. Someone that's really big will show up. You got a line of people that want to get their signatures on their badges. But for the most part, everyone's walking around and just being human. And you could just walk up to, one of your favorite YouTubers and just like ask them a question. And they just like, that's why they're there. They're open to just hang out, talk. They'll go have food with you. Not that they're getting paid to go have food with you. Like if you have a good question or you're talking about something interesting, they'll go hang out with you. So it was very fun in that sense. And this is what kind of makes it different. So yeah, let's go over to some pictures here. Right off the bat, of course, I was hanging out with Michael Welling. This is a video. I don't know if you can hear the Discord server. So I peeked over his shoulder and was like, "What you doing?" I thought that was kind of funny. As we walked in, we saw, of course, like Crunch Labs. This was during the setup day. So Crunch Labs booth was getting set up. This is the big Fiesta hall or Fiesta showroom. Now we walked back. So we had a private cabana for portalNetwork and devEco, I guess you could say. And we walked back and this is what we saw. We're like, okay, well, this is a little daunting. Like, we don't have like stage crews or production set people like to come and set up our entire booth. Like, traditionally working in big companies like they do. So I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this done? Well, they were just so accommodating. They were like, what do you want us to build for you? So it started off by them building us this like, pallet wall. They got us couches. We got our refrigerator. Here's Mihir, one of our guys, friend and colleague. And so it slowly started to come together over the course of the day. We took a break. This is a new thing that they had there. Really cool. They actually built the open source robot head, which was nice. I did a little video. I can show more of that later. I ended up like going in and saying hi to Dan from HackPack. This is the first time I got to see Dan in person. Actually, I took a video here of this was the first time I ever saw him in person. He had no idea. I just walked up to him like, super cool guy. If you went to the HackPack and Hackster and Back raid, he gave a talk there about the HackPacks. Here's a HackPack that's not even yet released or announced yet. This is from the year 3. It's a little Pharaoh bot or whatever they call it, Pharaoh fluid. Really cool, really cool. Then, okay, hanging out with Brooksy. So Brooksy's a YouTuber as well. He also is really big into the HackPacks. He hangs out. He moderates for their community as well. We finally got to hang out in person. That was another amazing experience. If you know Kevin Ryan from ARM, he stopped by the booth. We got to hang out with some university students. He does, this guy's name's Matt. He does biochemistry, like a big deal biochemistry guy. He's been doing it for years, like going for PhD. Kevin Ryan, he's the guy who hired me at ARM, one of my mentors, one of the most amazing guys in the world. And then the creators start showing up. So, like Sean, him, Sean Hodgins, moderate for his server. He hangs out in the DevEco, one of the coolest guys in the world. Austin Blake came by. He was hanging out, another cool dude. And then just like parties. So I'm going to kind of skip some of this. Look, I got to meet Evan and Caitlin, hang out with them for a minute. Got to meet some of the folks from the Hackpack community server. Here's Paul from Pimoroni. If anyone knows Pimoroni, he's the guy who founded it. He also is the guy who created the Raspberry Pi logo. So he's the one who the original artist of the Raspberry Pi logo. He's the artist of the Stephanie logo, and he's the artist for Becky Stern's logo. So he's a rad dude. Got to hang out with him. Adam from Crunch Labs. Two of my favorite people here. Jessica Tangeman. Don't get to see her very often. She's the ex-CEO of Hackster, in fact. And now she's hanging out, or now she works and is a VP over at Avnet. Super, super cool. Me and her go way back. Alex Glow. You obviously know her. She fixed her Archimedes companion robot for this thing. So like, I haven't seen Archimedes in so long. In one of the pictures, I tried giving Archimedes a kiss, but I think that was on someone else's camera. Now, really cool and very happy to say it was just so amazing having Edge.ai Foundation there. So like Edge.ai Foundation supported this event with portalNetwork and devEco. So they were there, they were present in terms of having their logos there. They made open source / Edge.ai Foundation stickers. We were handing those out. Like we got a lot of people that showed up to the booth asking like, hey, is Edge.ai Foundation here? Like, that's so cool that they're here. So having them present and hanging out with us in spirit and us representing them, it felt really nice. And also is an honor to kind of like give that, to be able to do that. This is Alan Pan. He would get bombarded. So anyone who knows Alan Pan, he's another YouTuber. So he started wearing this Minecraft box over his head. And then eventually like the whole crew showed up. You got like Ruth Amos and Stephanie, Crescent Shea. Of course, Brooksy was still there with us. And Alan Pan is like, I was like, keep your helmet on. It's okay. Becky Stern, amazing. She gave me this really cool bracelet and keychain. Posted that on LinkedIn. Met her husband, amazing guy as well. Delta Robotics was there. So like this is Mark, the CTO and the CEO from Delta Robotics. Another HacksterPRO showed up. Whitney, if you know Whitney from Nicktronics. I gave her a solid run board, LX2 solid run board. And I was trying to give it to, I wanted to give it to someone who does like, cool stuff. Whitney does amazing things. She's also a YouTuber, but she's also a HacksterPRO. And so this is a great opportunity to kind of like hand off something great. And then, yeah, more parties. Will Osmond, he's actually the founder of the event, started 3 years ago. He's also a YouTuber. Jay, if you know him, DigiKey. Mohib, you're going to get a beer in the shot here. But yeah, Mohib, this was a late night. But yeah, cool. So, and then I went to the Crunch Labs office. I'm not going to share too much of that, but I mean, like, it was rad. I mean, like, one thing I think that was really cool is I got John, check this out. 10 million subscribers, Mark Rober's diamond. Got to get one of those.
That's very, very cool. Very cool. When I get my first one, I'll let you know. I look forward to that.
When does the first one come in? Like what sub rate?
I think it's 100,000. Yeah,
I remember Becky just got that one. I think Becky Stern. Mark just throws this thing around, like he'll slide it across the floor, like it's beat up. I guess like once you 7x the diamond. Oh yeah, there you go. Even Heavy Falcon saying he held it too. He was actually in town. I got to meet Heavy Falcon. I don't know. I'm not going to show a picture of him unless he okays it. But yeah, cool. John, this was open sauce. So thank you for giving me time to kind of showcase this. If people ask me, and I can just push them here.
You're Robert Host.
Robert Host. Okay, now to the meat of it, John. To the meat of it. How do you feel about talking to us about some of these cool projects that you've posted on Hackster? And which one would you like to talk to us about first?
Oh, I don't know. Where should we start? Should we save Rexby one to last? Yeah, let's save the Rexby one for last. Yes. Let's start with the Pixel Ring, because this is a really simple project, really. I mean, it's just demonstrating how to drive different animations on a WS2812B Pixel LED ring. So it's just these wonderful LED rings that you use just a single signal wire to control everything. And there's some great libraries out there for the Pico, which I've used. And I used actually on one of my Udemy courses, which is where this originally come from. But I needed a really simple project to show at a conference recently here in Brighton, UK, called Evolve 25. Not quite as big as open source, but it's nice to have something local. And one of the groups I found over here, which is a face-to-face meetup group called Breaking Breadboards, we had a massive area there, and we were trying to show off some of our simple projects. So I went and showed off this. Well, I upgraded the ring first of all from a mere 12 LEDs to 24 LEDs, and built that up. In fact, it is sitting behind me because knowing that I was going to be here and talking about it, I decided I'd put it up there on the shelf, and you could just about see it in the background, sparkling away there. I will go and play with camera settings, but that's very a bad idea.
Yeah, all John. No, this is really cool. John, I don't know. Have you we love Seed, by the way. Like, I love Seed Studio. I know Ginger, from Hackster, she loves Seed Studio. We recently did a raid with Hackster to the Seed Discord server. Did you see that they have a new affiliate program?
Yes.
I signed up right away. I love it. I think that it's just such a cool idea. I feel like companies like that need to do more things like this. In fact, I wrote them a very detailed email about how to improve the program by making what do you call it? There's the affiliate program, but then there's like the recruiter program. So like, imagine I want to recruit affiliates and I want a trickle up from the affiliates. So like, let's just say I recruit you as an affiliate. Where's my reward from everything you sell?
Absolutely. And there are a number of these really, really great companies providing great boards, great services, great tools for us, and sponsoring great projects. You've already mentioned Pimeroni. We've now mentioned Seed. We've also got Waveshare. These guys are great, but as yet, getting communities behind them, I'm not entirely sure that's quite there yet. There's a bit of work, I think, that needs to go on in all of those to get that. And I freely talk about boards from all of these guys on my channel and review them from time to time when I get hold of them, because they're great and they're great fun.
They are.
I mean, if we talk about the skeleton head, which is also sitting behind me, and one of the other projects up on there, that's actually a couple of Waveshare displays. It's two Waveshare RP 2040 boards that are basically just stuck onto the eyes of this little skull from yes, that was full of sweets at Halloween, and that was built for Halloween. And then there's just a single wire running between it, well, two wires, a neutral and ground, and a signal wire. So they're basically just talking UART between them in order that the dominant eye tells the submissive eye where to move.
Yeah, this how do I copy the share link here? I want to share the link to this YouTube video for John. Still don't have. Yeah, so this is a great video. John talking about his skull, right? His what did you call it? Halloween skull. There you go. John, you showed this at the Developers Anonymous meetup one time, I think, too. Like, you actually
I did, because it happened to be the end of October, wasn't it? The meeting. So it was perfect timing, and I just knocked this up in sort of 24 hours. Yeah, it just happened to be great timing.
It was our second
doesn't
episode.
mean that every one of my projects takes 24 hours to build. Some of them, unfortunately, take a little bit longer.
Yeah, there's cool stuff here. I mean, okay, nice. Well, John, so if you were to say any sort of contributions, let's look at it from a developer standpoint. I want to go take your skull. Is there anything that you could think of that you wanted to add to it but did not add to it yet? or that you might say, hey guys, this is something that would be interesting to hack on and kind of add to it or do something to it? I mean, usually like, sorry, you get what I'm saying, right?
So the skull is really simple in terms of eye movement. It doesn't do anything clever like blink, which might have been cool, nor does it do anything clever like follow people around the room, which would be really, really cool. And something I did do with one of my other projects. So the robot Santa that briefly appeared on the screen there, where I actually did face detection and got it to basically turn and keep moving around. It would have been really good and really cool to have had the skeleton actually following people's head. It's really disturbing watching myself as I play the video on the screen as I try to talk and thinking, what's
that robot Santa is scary.
Am I looking idiot?
The robot Santa is scary. Like, I mean, that's like, I mean, I feel like if you did you label this not for children, right? Like
I never label any of my program videos directly for children, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, that's actually a great point. I mean, like adding this type of, I want to say, what is it, intelligence to these types of things, make it just that much more interactive and fun. So also, I mean, you kind of like could add some form of inferencing at that stage as well, right? Like imagine this is like your Ring video doorbell. The nose is a button. The eyes are actually have a camera, sees you, speaker in the mouth. And then that's how you ring the bell.
That would be fabulous. But yeah. I'm not sure my other apartment residents would be very happy with me.
They're probably not. They'll probably be scared. So, John, now I think let's dive into it. I want to hear about the story of Rex Pi 1, okay, or Rex P1. So, I know that you've been posting about it. I've tried my best to follow as much as possible. And in fact, I even brought you up a couple times at Open Source. However, I couldn't tell your story. Like, you know, what is it? Why is it? Why does it look like R2-D2? How long did it take you to build? When did you start building it? When did you first become inspired and decide that you wanted to build this? What's the whole purpose behind it? I mean, other than, you know, posting projects online and making videos, like you seem usually Star Wars people, if you do something R2-D2 wise, you have some story to tell us.
Well, of course, I am a Star Wars nerd. You know, I'm 54 years old. I was 6 when Star Wars: New Hope hit the cinema. It had a profound effect on me. It changed my world, and Rex P1 is definitely Star Wars inspired. But I didn't really want to build a replica R2-D2. Certainly not a full-size one. I didn't really, and when you see R2-D2s at various shows and stuff, that they are amazing. The way that they managed to get them almost film perfect is just incredible, and is beyond my mechanical maker ability. So how could I actually make a something that, you know, went in a different direction? The other thing I don't like about them entirely is that they're sort of just remote control cars. You know, they have a big remote control and they drive them around. And that's really cool. But actually, I like robotics and I like things that can have behavior and can respond to their environment. So although release 1 of Rex P1 does not have quite that capability yet, that's absolutely the direction I'm going with him. And he is built from the ground up to be a robot and to be built based on the robot operating system. So we will get to mapping, we will get to navigation, we will get facial recognition, we will get behavior that is responding to its environment. And that's all the direction I'm going in. But on the journey there's quite a lot of things you have to get right first. And you've got to get all of that electronics right. You've got to get all of the coding right to control all of both motors, to control all those things. And much more importantly, you've got to get the mechanics right. And that takes some time. The number of times I've got the mechanics wrong on this is embarrassing. Because things go wrong. He's fallen over before now. I've put a tilt mechanism in, so an R2 unit can go between two-legged and three-wheeled models. I'm not going to change its wheel position, but I did want to be able to put the whole body to an upright position or to the laid-back drive position. And I've redesigned that mechanism 3 times. And the last one, I broke the gear, the drive gear on the servo when it fell over backwards. So, not quite working. Need to go on that again. There are bits about mechanics that are hard, but it's fun because of the journey. So that's what Rexby 1 is. Here's a journey. He builds off of another robot that I spent a lot of last year building, called DDD, my DIY dev droid, which literally was a breadboard sitting on top of 3 wheels with 2 drive wheels. In fact, he is sitting there. That's DDD, and literally, it is basically just a breadboard.
Wait, where are you pointing? Where are you pointing to? Let's. Gotcha.
So that.
Oh my gosh!
Thing,
I just noticed you have like a dwarf head with a hat on too. Yeah.
Oh, that's Robot Santa.
That's the Robot Santa. Oh, it's a much bigger than I thought it was. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's a life-size head.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's terrifying. So okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Let's keep going.
So a lot of this was based on DDD, and DDD helped me learn a lot of things. Like, when I built DDD, I bought motors directly off of eBay on the chassis. It was all really cool, and I thought this would be great. And they're designed to run trucks, remote-controlled trucks around the park, which means that they will do 15 to 20 miles an hour. Now, 15 to 20 miles an hour is great fun if you're driving a remote-controlled truck around the park. It's less good around my living room. And indeed, it's likely to get me a divorce around my living room. So I learned that actually you might want to choose what gear ratio you've got in your motors when you build a droid that's going to go around your living room, because you want something that fits in your living room. So consequently, Rexby 1 drives just a little bit faster than walking pace, maximum speed. Yeah, so that's where. How long have I been working on them? You asked that question, and I haven't answered that one. So I started planning this at Christmas. So he is literally 6 months old.
And then January, you started working on it. So you started planning in December and then working on it in January?
Yep.
Designing. That's cool. I mean, 6-month project. Congratulations. A lot of people can't stick around for a 6-month project like that.
He's got a long way to go. I would say probably another 18 months in him, I think, at the rate I'm going, if I go that far. But, there are a whole raft of things I want to change. But at the moment, I'm really trying to get and say, this is release 1. If other people want to be able to build him or want to understand how I've built him so they can build something very similar, then how can I get that out there? How can I share that?
Did you 3D print all these parts?
Yes.
Ooh.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because I've only got a little 3D printer, so there are lots of 3D prints. I reckon there are about 40 3D prints.
Wow.
To build him, and there's a lot of bolts. I sometimes nickname him Mr. Rusty instead.
Mr. Rusty. And so, John,
the other interesting name he gets occasionally is Jenga, because you can take away large quantities of the panels without him actually falling apart. They're all just interlinked, and it's just this question of how many bolts can I actually take out before he completely just disintegrates on the desk?
And what was that nickname?
Jenga.
Jenga. Gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
makes sense, right? Yeah. You know, stupid side tangent. I had someone who didn't really realize. I was blown away. They tried taking out the centerpiece in the freaking Jenga like over and over again. Like I was like, no, that like goes around. Like you can't. Then they try again. Like you can't take a middle piece out. Like the whole thing will fall. But they couldn't grasp that concept. Anyways, yeah, they would have destroyed Rex P1. Like they would have destroyed it. So John, I think that it's time to show the real feed, because from what I understand is that you actually have this live and ready to showcase.
Yes, I turned him on. I booted him up, and he is sitting right next to me. So
wait, do we do like a demo guys dance real quick? Pray to the demo guys. All right, let me get a good view in here real quick. We'll move this over here. We'll move it like this. I think that should be good enough. So Rex P1 right there, everyone. And this is live. It's coming from John's cell phone. He's controlling it right now. So and this is max speed.
That's slow. If I go max speed, he'll go out of shot in a few seconds. So as you can see, he's driven by those two back wheels. One thing I didn't say when I was talking about him is one of my other interests is distribution and distributed systems, and I decided to put that into robotics. So actually, all of the controls are basically separate microcontrollers. So each wheel is a separate microcontroller that works it, and it then is talking over USB back to its central brain, which is a Raspberry Pi 5. Same is true for the neck, turning that dome. And then if I turn it a little bit more, you might just be able to see that it's got a nice waveshare screen sitting in the middle of that dome, showing some nice images, including Princess Leia trapped there, asking, "Dr. John, please come and save me. You're our only hope."
Oh, I see it. Yeah. Are you able to bring the phone closer to see that screen better? The little circle screen?
It's now going to go into its 360 mode. So it's going to demonstrate that it can actually go around 360 degrees.
Oh, wow. No, John, this is really cool. I mean, like, this is really, really cool. I mean, and you say like 18 more months left. I can just imagine you hacking away at this for the next 20 years, like continuously improve. It's like a little buddy, little robot buddy.
Well, that would be nice. That would be nice. I've got a few other things I plan on doing as well. So there you go. You might be able to see the screen there.
There you go.
There's Princess Leia, and there's cool. There's my alter ego as pretending to be Luke Skywalker with my Jedi lightsaber, ready to save the planet.
And a cup holder for your beer.
Yes, there is a cup holder there. Not actually for my beer. I was using that to hand out stickers.
Oh, okay.
Which was really, really cool.
Very nice. Is there a speaker? Can it talk? Can it make noises?
Not yet. People keep on asking me that. And most of my projects, I don't put sound on because I generally think sound's very, very annoying. But
R2D2.
He probably does need sound.
What you should do, John, is you should use the speaker, but you should make the R2D2 make Chewbacca noises. It'll throw people off. People will be like, "What the heck?" That'll be a different thing. But yeah, no, I mean, like, so there was this thing at Open Source. I wish I'd snapped a picture of it. This guy, massive robot, John, like 2 humans could fit in there, and he would walk around with his remote controlling it, and it was all remote controlled. And then he had this microphone thing, and it did voice alterations, right? So like he was actually the voice of the robot, but it sounded like a robot, and he had all these clever things to say, like especially to the kids, like some of the kids would get a little scared, but then like it wasn't to scare them, it was obviously like, oh, you are a good human. You are a good human. I will not eat you. I will not destroy you. You know, like stuff like that. And the kids got a little scared sometimes, but then they became friends with the robot. It was really fun, really cool. That might be a fun thing too.
It might be, and I might do that at some point very soon. Who knows?
Now we got to get you to open source next year with this guy. I'll walk around.
We
with you
do. I'm not sure how I transport him, but yeah, it will be really cool to bring him over if I could.
I think the most efficient way, as in like to not have to like break him apart and rebuild him, is to find a Pelican case that literally just fits him. You know, you carve the foam out and just like plop him in a Pelican case, because I feel like he would fit in a big enough Pelican case, and then it wouldn't weigh, but you just have to fly with it oversized kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's quite possible. There must be a way of transporting him. I might have to get someone to rebuy batteries over there though, because the airline may not like him. At the moment, he's running on LiPo 3Ss. Though I am going to change that to LiPo or LiFePo 4s, because LiPo 3Ss aren't the most stable batteries. And have been known to catch fire before now.
Yeah. No, I mean, like when I have to travel with things, not like this exactly, but some things like this, I have to always remove the batteries, take them with me, and then there's still limits on that. Hybrid robotics, Dale says, no robot should ever be finished. Dale, that's not true.
Absolutely.
No, it's not true, because I want a finished robot that cleans my house and cooks for me. I don't need to modify that robot anymore. I just want a fully finished commercial version of a robot that will clean and cook for my household. Finished.
Dale, I'm entirely with you. Every robot we build, we're going to keep rebuilding forever. Though I must admit, I am torn at the moment to say, you know, do I tear him apart and rebuild him, or do I just build a second one next to him and then let them step change in versions, so I can, you know, always have two versions, one the previous version finished and the new one. I don't know.
You know, I have an interesting idea for you. We should probably talk about this offline. In fact, and Dale might be able to play a part in this as well. Qualcomm is doing some really cool stuff with some of their new boards, right? So you have like their RB3 Gen 2, you have their Rubik Pi, right? I mean, I've been talking to some of their people on their robotics team, and they would love to see two robots playing catch. Just saying. That might be something interesting, but let's talk offline about that, because I mean, like their hardware is pretty amazing. And in turn, they would probably get a pretty awesome developer in terms of feedback looping their documentation and developer experience, right? Like every company can use a developer like you building stuff on their technology, because they get feedback on how to make it better. But yeah. All right, cool. John, we're at the top of the hour now. We got about 10 minutes left, usually about 5 minutes, so we can close it out. Is there anything else you would like to plug, talk about, explore, any topics that you personally would be interested in discussing?
I think with you, Robert, it would be good to talk about community, and how do you plug community into projects like RexP1? Because that's something that where actually I think there is opportunities here, and I'm just a humble architect and developer. I don't know about people. Yeah,
good question, John. Thank you. So okay, communities are very, very difficult to build. Believe it or not, it's not something that, like, you know, you just kind of, unless you're lucky, you stumble upon. However, there are some tried and true, at least to my experience, methods of building communities around things like this. So one is, at least one of the methods that I call, or one of the principles, is exploring your pillars of ecosystem. So identify what pillars you can build this community upon. So for example, one of the pillars would be the R2D2 community. There's a whole like subculture of people who build R2D2 robots, right? Now, if you go and explore this, like at Maker Faire in back in the day, there was like 10, 15, 20 people who would show up with their R2D2 robots. So if you're talking about like building a community, that is going to be a pillar that you want to leverage. Either you're going to build it like as in tap into that community, interact with them, make friends, talk about the things that they're doing, and then at some point decide to, establish your own community and bring some of those friends with you. Ideally, adding value, like not poaching or replicating value, because you don't want to fragment in these situations. You want to try to add value in it through another community, and then portal network between each other. But then also identifying people in your immediate surroundings, right? Like, so, you have devEco, other third-party communities that might be interested, doing the thing you're doing right now. And then this feeds into what I call a 2-4-8-16 rule, right? So if you just get one other person like that's into what you're doing, and you guys really work together and you do something cool and you start forming a bond around this community idea, right? Well, now you have two people who can each go get one more person. And so you slowly start to replicate in this way. And this is kind of how the devEco was formed, along with a few other catalysts. But devEco was formed on that principle. It wasn't about trying to make a big community fast. It was about trying to make a whatever sized community slowly and right. And so that's pretty much outside. And A13, we were talking about him. A13, I still wish they would come hang out more in the devEco, but they were the first person to join devEco, and that was my one. So we were the two. So the other thing when you talk about communities is identifying kind of like your portfolio, right? You only have so many resources, things that you can do personally, and or allowing people within this community that you start forming to do. And this is something very important. Like, where is your community going to be hosted? Where are you going to congregate? How are you going to communicate? And this saying, I've said it a bunch of times, but it's like, don't build your castles in other people's kingdoms, right? So when you start a community from scratch at the very beginning, right, you want to make sure that you have like that emergency button. Even devEco, right? Like, as you funnel people into a community, you want to make sure you have some level of data about that person. I don't mean data in the wrong way, in email, because if Discord were to ban your community for some reason, if some malicious characters were to come in and just like massively report the owner of the server and you lose access, anything can happen. You need the ability to move your castle to another kingdom. And the only way you can do that is if you have certain bits of information to do that, to communicate with your community beyond the platform that you're hosting it on. So those are probably like the three things, identifying your pillars, establishing kind of like your core group of people, and then finding your value adds, and then making sure that you, as you're forming it, are collecting a certain amount of data in order to prevent any sort of loss or deprecation of the community. But obviously goes with John. I could talk, my goodness, I should make a Udemy course. I could talk about this kind of stuff for like hours or days or months. Like, this is like the thing that I'm most passionate about.
Absolutely. But it's so valuable because, this is fun. Building these things is fun. How do we share that more widely? How do I allow people into that world? And it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, John. People don't realize this about like kind of me in particular, right? Like, and this is like, now that devEco does an application process for the Discord server, like I have a bunch of applications waiting. I put a lot of effort into community, right? And it's because I'm passionate and I love it. But like when someone joins the community, or for this matter, sends me an invite to connect on LinkedIn. Okay. Like I have like hundreds, whatever, invites to connect on LinkedIn. I don't accept, I'm not about the numbers. I don't care if I have 50,000 connections. Like if I don't know you or I haven't had a meaningful experience with you, I'm not going to connect with you. You can follow me if you enjoy my stuff, but I'm not going to connect with you because that to me is not a high integrity network. I like high integrity networks. I like high integrity communities. So I would love to connect with you, but this is where things get like real kind of like, I think, different for me, is that I send a nice message. I go look at the person's LinkedIn, and then I give them my Calendly link if I feel that there could be some sort of synergy. I spend a half an hour with that person. I mean, like there's people in devEco at this point and other communities that I'm in that like I've literally sat down, had conversations, gotten to know them, had second conversations, became friends with, right? Turfta, Tori Turfta from our server. He's now my business partner. He just landed in Discord, right? He shared a video. Next thing you know, I'm like, hey man, this is really cool. Is that you in the video? Can we hop on a call? 5 minutes later, we're in a video chat, hanging out. 2 months, 3 months later, we're business partners, right? Like that's the kind of effort that I put into communities and my network. And so that's kind of like, if you really want to build something out, communities are if you want to build like a really, cool one, like I feel like we have here, John, us, right? Like that's kind of like some of the effort that, and you're putting effort into, everyone puts effort in, but it's like, that's what I enjoy doing. So people are like not always into that. Discord doesn't make me money, or Discord doesn't do this for me. And it's like, that's thinking in the 6 months. Like me and you, John, like we can do something 30 years from now. You'll be 84. I'll be 64. Right? Who knows? And it could just be margaritas on the beach, but hey, 30 years from now, we're doing something fun. That's the long-term mindset, right?
It's all about doing something fun. It's all about sharing and giving things stuff. But there is some stuff that has to be protected. And RexP1, I've had to make a really difficult decision with how I'm sharing that, because although bits of that project are like every other project I do that under MIT license, some of it I've had to say no. There is so much time in the development of the body. There is so much in the documentation. There is only so much time I have to moderate the forum. No, that stuff goes behind a very cheap paywall, just to keep a few people out, because there's only so many hours. One has in to do this stuff, and I have to protect my time, or we will never get version 2. And release 2 is going to be really cool.
Where's your paywall? No, this is a good point, John. Like it's actually, so I mean, like the creator space, that just in general, people need money to eat and to live, right? And so like there's nothing wrong with that. Please, like where's your paywall? Because if there is someone interested
my paywall is actually GitHub. So my paywall is on the Dr. Jon EA GitHub account. And you will see that there is a sponsor button there, and there are 2 sponsor levels. Give me $1 a month just because you love me, or give me $3 a month and you get access to everything that I've shared so far around RexP1.
Here it is, guys. Oh, I don't even follow you yet. Look at that. Am I logged in? I'm going to share it here. Yeah, this is great.
Sorry. Go to the Dr. Jon EA one rather than my Jon Durant one. I have a few organizations. Jon Durant was where I started, but now, as you see in the top right corner, there is a sponsor button. And if you click there, there are 2 sponsor tiers. And sponsor tier 2, which is the $3 a month, gets access to RexP1.
This is great. Okay, cool. There you go, guys. I think that this is a really, worthwhile effort, to be honest. I think also when you're talking about creators, this is how they survive and continue to make cool things. Mad respect, John. And I do appreciate you sharing all this with us. So if you are interested in supporting this RexP2 effort and the RexP1, we'd love to see you go support John. And thank you so much for taking the time. So John, any last words? Let me get this out of the way here. Any last words that you would like to say before we close this out? Because it is the top of the hour.
Go play with microcontrollers and tinker. It's really fun, and it is nowhere near as difficult as people will tell you.
Microcontrollers and tinker.
Microcontroller, tinker, do it now.
Microcontrollers, tinker. As soon as you hang up on this call, do it now. That's John's words. John, thank you so much. Really, we really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And I will see you in the DevEco and or the Hackster Discord server, which we recommend everyone also join there as well. GG/Hackster.io. John, I'm going to close this out now, all right?
Thank you.
Please stick around for 1 second, though. The way that this works in StreamYard behind the scenes, we do record it locally, and then it uploads to the server so we get the highest quality. If you don't mind just sticking around for a second after we turn off the stream. Excellent. Everyone, thank you so much for taking this hour to spend it with us. PROCEPTION Live, Jon Durant, Dr. Jon EA, YouTuber, maker, creator, and of course, consultant. So if you are looking for doing some cool stuff and or exploring some cool stuff, make sure you check out John here's YouTube channel. Dr. John EA, and his Hackster.io profile page. He's got some of the projects that we talked about today up there as well. So if you did enjoy this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and we will see you next time in the devEco YouTube channel showcasing Hackster's PROCEPTION Live, brought to you by Hackster and Avnet. Everyone, have a wonderful week, wonderful month. We'll see you next month. Take care. Bye.